Speak thou, O JEHOVIH. Book of JEHOVIH. Wherein is revealed the three great worlds, corpore, ATMOSPHEREA, and ETHEREA. As in all other Bibles it is revealed that this world was created, so in this Bible it is revealed how the Creator created it. As other Bibles have proclaimed heavens for the spirits of the dead, behold, this Bible revealeth where these heavens are, and the manner and glory and work that the spirits of the dead enjoy, whereby the wisdom, power, love and glory of the Almighty are magnified for the understanding of man. AJ. HMY #HTA. The AO Degel QIXB. IFTL 2184, 6 His the Apology. The universe is full, all things are members. Speech they have. Bid them speak. The recorder of their words be thou. Such as panic, earth, language, the first language. What saith the bird? The beast? The stars? The sun? All. It is their souls speaking. The soul hear thou, and repeat it. This light leadeth thee to origin. Chapter I. Was. All is. All ever shall be. 6. 2 In likeness all pake, and motion was, and is, and by of myself, made I all the living, for as the ever shall be, and, being positive, was called he in him. The all motion was his speech. 2. He said, I am. And he comprehended all things, the seen and the unseen. Nor is there aught in all the universe but what is part of him. 3. He said, I am the soul of all, and the all that is seen is of my person and my body. 4. By virtue of my presence all things are. By virtue of my presence is life. By virtue of my presence are the living brought forth into life. I am QUICKENER, the mover, the creator, the destroyer. I am first and last. 5. Of 2 apparent entities am I, nevertheless I am but one. These entities are the unseen, which is potent, and the seen, which is of itself impotent, and called corpore. Life is the potent part, so is the corporeal part the impotent part. 7. Chief over all that live on the earth I made man, male and female made I them. And that man might distinguish me, I commanded him to give me a name, by virtue of my presence commanded I him. And man named me not after anything in heaven or on the earth. In obedience to my will named he me after the sounds the wind uttereth, and he said, EOIH. Which is now pronounced JEHOVIH, and is written thus, 6 Book of JEHOVIH. 2 Chapter 2. EHOVIH by virtue decreted I thids, thy and thee of my presence orbits and course for themshivel und void and I commanded man to name them. And man named the seen worlds corpore, and the unseen worlds ease, and the inhabitants of corpore, man named corporines. But the inhabitants of he called sometimes essenes and sometimes spirits and sometimes angels. 2. JEHOVIH said, I created the earth, and fashioned it, and placed it in the firmament, and by my presence brought man forth a living being. A corporeal body gave I him that he might learn corporeal things, and death I made that he might rise in the firmament and inherit my ethereal worlds. 3. To I gave dominion over corpore, with I filled all place in the firmament. But corpore I made into earths and moons and stars and suns, beyond number made I them, and I caused them to float in the places I allotted to them. 4. I divided into 2 parts, and I commanded man to name them, and he named one Etheria and the other Atmospheria. These 8 atmospherine worlds I also created in the firmament, and I gave them places in themselves. But atmospheric worlds I created shape SS of fixed form, for they are in process of condensation or dissolution, being intermediate in condition betwixt my ethereal and my corporeal worlds. Of 3 degrees of density created I them, and I commanded man to name them, and one he called Ag, and one G and one nebulae. 9. But all of them are composed of the same substances, being like the earth, but rarefied. Nor is there on the earth or in it one thing, even iron, or lead, or gold, or water, or oil, or stones, but the same things are in my atmospheric worlds. As I have given light to the earth so have I given light to many of them, and all such have I commanded man to call comets. And even so named he them. 10. And I also created atmospheria around about my corporeal worlds, together made I them. Chapter 3. Are the 3 kinds of worlds I created, but thus spake JEHOVIH, by the light of Kos I gave different densities to atmospheric worlds, and different densities to the ethereal worlds. 5. For the substance of my Etherian worlds I created Eth, the most rarefied. Out of Eth made I them. And I made Eth the most subtle of all created things, and gave to it power and place, not only by itself, but also power to penetrate and exist within all things, even in the midst of the corporeal worlds. And to Eth gave I dominion over both atmospheria and corpore. 6. In the all-highest places created I the Etherian worlds, and I fashioned them of all shapes and sizes, similar to my corporeal worlds. But I made the Etherian worlds inhabitable both within and without, with entrances and exits, in arches and curves, thousands of miles high and wide, and overruled I them with perfect mechanism, and in colors and movable chasms and mountains in endless change and brilliancy. To them I gave motions, and orbits and courses of their own, independent made I them, and above all other worlds in potency and majesty. 7. Neither created I one Etherian world like another in size or density or in component parts, but every one differing from another, and with a glory matchless each in its way. Mon proclaimed he these things amongst the nations of the earth. 2. Man looked upward in prayer, desiring to know the manner of all created things, both on earth and in heaven. And JEHOVIH answered him, saying, 3. The whirlwind made I as a sign to man of the manner of my created worlds. As thou beholdest the power of the whirlwind gathering up the dust of the earth and driving it together, know that even so do I bring together the Oahspe and JEHOVIH and nebulae in the firmament of heaven. By the power of the whirlwind create I the corporeal suns and moons and stars. And I commanded man to name the whirlwinds in the Etherian firmament, and he named them vortices and wark, according to their shape named he them. 4. By the power of rotation, swift driving forth in the extreme parts, condense I the atmospherine worlds that float in the firmament, and these become my corporeal worlds. In the midst of the vortices made I them, and by the power of the vortices I turn them on their axes, and carry them in the orbits I allotted to them. Wider than to the moons of a planet have I created the vortices, and they carry the moons also. 5. Around about some of my corporeal 3 Oahspe worlds have I given nebulous belts and rings, that man might comprehend the rotation of my vortexan worlds. 6. For each and every corporeal world created I a vortex first, and by its rotation and by the places in the firmament whither it travelleth, caused I the vortex to conceive the corporeal world. 7. A great vortex created I for the sun, and, within this vortex and subject to it, made I the vortices of many of the corporeal worlds. The sun vortex I caused to rotate, and I gave it power to carry other vortices within it. According to their density and position are they thus carried forth and around about the sun. 8. Think not, O man, that I created the sky a barren waste, and void of use. Even as man in the corporeal form is adapted to the corporeal earth, so is he in the spiritual form adapted to my Etherian worlds. 3 great estates have I bestowed on man: the corporeal, the atmospherine and the Etherian. Chapter IV. As nothing in the firmament of heaven in course of time. 6. Things that man seeth, created I with a beginning and an end, but the unseen I made of endless duration. 7. The corporeal man made I belonging to the seen, but the spiritual man made I as one within the unseen, and everlasting. 8. As the corporeal man beholdeth corporeal things, so doth the spiritual man follow upward the evaporated, corporeal entities of things. As corporeal things are tangible to corporeans, so are things tangible to the spirits of the dead. 9. As I cause water to rise upward as vapor, and take a place in the air above, let it be a sign and testimony of other places in atmospheria whereon dwell the spirits of the lower heaven. 10. As I made a limit to the ascent of the clouds, so made I a limit to the places of the different kinds of substances in atmospheria, the more subtle and potent to the extreme, and the more dense and impotent nearer to the earth. 11. According to the condition of these different plateaux in atmospheria, whether they near their high, so shall man perceive the general foundation of Berit of man take its place in the first heaven, might be opened for a sign in heaven. And JEHOVIH answered him, saying, 2. The clouds in the air I bring into view suddenly, by different currents of wind make I thus the unseen visible and tangible to man's senses. In like manner do I cause Etherian currents to bring forth Oahspe and JEHOVIH, and nebulae, prior to making corporeal worlds. 3. In all the universe have I made the unseen to rule over the seen. Let the formation of the clouds stand in the view of man on earth, that he may bear witness to the manner of the unseen becoming seen. 4. Man perceived, and he prayed for a sign of duration, and JEHOVIH answered him, saving. 5. Behold the tree which hath sprung up out of the ground and fulfilled its time, it falleth and rotteth, and returneth to the earth. But lo, the wind, which thou seest not, never ceaseth to blow. Even so is the comparative duration of all things. Think not, O man, that corporeal things are annihilated because they disappear, for as a drop of water evaporateth and riseth in the air as unseen vapor, so do all corporeal things, even earth, and stones, and gold, and silver, and lead, become according to his diet and desires and behavior, so shall he dwell in spirit on the plateau to which he hath adapted himself during his earth life. 12. For I made the power of attraction manifest in all things before man's eyes that he might not err, that like should attract like made I them. 13. Man sought to know the progress of things. JEHOVIH answered him, saying. 14. Open thine eyes, O man. There is a time of childhood, a time of genesis, a time of old age, and a time of death to all men. Even so is it with all the corporeal worlds I have created. 15. First as vapor the vortex carrieth it forth, and as it condenseth, its friction engendereth heat, and it is molten, becoming as a globe of fire in heaven. Then it taketh its place as a new-born world, and I set it in the orbit prepared for it. 16. In the next age I bring it into Samu, for it is ripe for the bringing forth of living creatures, and I bestow the vegetable and animal kingdoms. 17. Next it entereth Hotu, for it is past the age of begetting, even as the living who or 8 book of JEHOVIH. 4. In dotage. Next it entereth Adu, and nothing can generate upon it. Then cometh Uz, and it is spirited away into unseen realms. Thus create I, and thus dissipate planets, suns, moons and stars. 18. My examples are before all men. My witnesses are without number. I raise the tree up out of the ground. I give it a time to bring forth fruit, and then barrenness, and then death and dissolution. I prepare the new field with rich soil, bringing forth, and the old field that is exhausted, and man shall weigh the progress and destiny of a whole world. 19. Let no man marvel because of the size of the mammoth and the ichthyosaurus, for there was a time for them as there is a time for the infusoria of this day. 20. I have given thee a sign, O man, in the queen of the honey bee, because of the change of the cell cometh she forth a queen, even from the same manner of germ as the other bees. Be wise, therefore, and remember that the earth is not in the place of the firmament as of old. Let this be a testimony to thee of the growth, the change and the travail of the earth. 21. Nevertheless, O man, the seen and the unseen are but parts of my person, I am the unity of the whole. Man chapter v. An perceived the magnitude and glory of the corporeal worlds. He said, How shall I speak of thy great works, O JEHOVIH, and of thy wisdom and power? Shall I open my mouth before thee? I look upon thy countless stars, suns and moons, spread out over the heavens. The millions of years thou hast driven them on in the never-ending firmament. Processions in and out, and round about, of mighty worlds. By thy breath going forth. 2. O thou, all highest. How shall I hide my insignificance? I cannot create the smallest thing alive. Nay, nor change the color of a hair on my head. What am I, that thou hast seen me? 3. Tell me, O my Creator, whence came life? This unseen within me that is conscious of being. Tell me how all the living came into life. 4. JEHOVIH heard the words of man, and he answered him, saying, Let a sign be given to man that he may comprehend Samu. Thereupon JEHOVIH caused the jellyfish and the green scum of water to be permanently coming forth in all ages, that man might understand the age of Samu, when the earth and the shores by the water, and the waters also, were covered over with commingled atmosphere and corporeal substance. And this substance was called Samu, because by JEHOVIH's presence quickened he it into life, and thus made he all the living, both the vegetable and animal worlds. Not that Samu is jellyfish or the green scum of water, for the earth in this day produced not Samu abundantly, nevertheless the jellyfish and the green scum of water are signs of that which was in that day of the earth. 5. JEHOVIH said, Because of my presence quickened I into life all that live, or ever have lived. 6. Because I am male and female, even in my likeness, thus made I them. Because I am the power to quicken into life, so, in likeness of me thus, made I them, and with power to bring forth. 7. According to their respective places created I the living, not in pairs only, but in hundreds of pairs and thousands, and in millions. 8. According to their respective places and the light upon Samu, so quickened I them in their color, adapted to their dwelling places. 9. Each and every living thing created I knew upon the earth, of a kind each to itself, and not one living thing created I out of another. 10. Let a sign be upon the earth, that man in his darkness may not believe that one animal changeth and becometh another. 11. Thereupon JEHOVIH gave permission for different animals to bring forth a new living animal, which should be unlike either its mother or father, but he caused the new product to be barren. 12. JEHOVIH said, And this shall be testimony before all men that I created each and all the living, after their own kind only. 13. Such is my person and my spirit, being from everlasting to everlasting, and when I bring a new world into the time of Samu, lo and behold my presence quickeneth the substance into life, according to the locality and the surroundings, so do I bring forth the different species, for they are flesh of my flesh and spirit of my spirit. To themselves give I themselves, nevertheless, they are all members of my person. 14. As a testimony to man, behold the earth 9:520 Oahspe was once a globe of liquid fire, nor was there any seed thereon. But in due season one rained down Samu on the earth, and by virtue of my presence quickened I into life all the living. Without seed created I the life that is in them. Chapter V. W looked upward, and JEHOVIH saw him. Man comprehended the earth he and knew the desires of his soul. So JEHOVIH sent his son Uz, and Uz spake, saying, 2. Hear me, O man, the mysteries of heaven and earth will I clear up before thy judgment. Thou art the highest, and comest to the chiefest of all kingdoms, from great JEHOVIH shalt thou learn wisdom, and none shall gainsay thee. 3. Bethink thee, O man, of the magnitude of thy father's kingdoms and his places in the firmament. Save I take thee into the heavens above, thou canst not comprehend the places thereof. 4. Man then rose up in spirit, and ascended into the firmament, for his spirit had crystallized into separateness, and Uz and Ez ascended with him, speaking in the voice of the Father. And man beheld that each and everything in the firmament was orderly, and still each to itself located. Then spake S, saying, 5. Behold, O man, as a farmer soweth corn in one place, and wheat in another, and roots in another, and flax everything in a separate place, even so doth JEHOVIH store the ingredients of which worlds are made, everything in its place, the substance of the iron in one place, the substance of the stones in another, the substance of the vegetable kingdom in another, and even so of the substance of the animal kingdom, and the oils and sand, for he hath places in the firmament of heaven for all of them. These that thou sa west are the Agi and the Ge and the nebulae, and amidst them in places there is Samu also. Let no man say, Yonder is hydrogen only, and yonder oxygen only. The divisions of the substances of his creations are not as man would make them. All the elements are to be found not only in places near at hand, but in distant places also. 6. When the Father driveth forth his worlds in the heavens, they gather a sufficiency of all things. So also cometh it to pass that when a corporeal world is yet new and young it is carried forth, not by random, but purposely, in the regions suited to it. Hence there is a time for Samu, a time for falling nebulae, to bury deep the forests and Samwan beds, to provide coal and manure for a time thereafter. So is there a time when the earth passeth a region in the firmament when sand and oil are rained upon it and covered up, and gases bound and sealed up for the coming generations of men. 7. And man said, I am ashamed in thy sight, O JEHOVIH. I looked upward and said, Behold the sky, it is nothing. Then I said, It is true, the corporeal worlds are made of condensed nebulae, but I saw not the wisdom and glory of thy works. I locked thee up in coincidences and happenings. Thy unseen world hath become seen, the unreal hath become the real. 8. O that I had been mindful of thee! O that I had not put thee afar, nor imagined laws and decrees! Teach thou me, O JEHOVIH! How was the beginning of man? How was it with the first of the living that thou broughtest forth? 9. JEHOVIH said, Have I not declared myself in the past? In my works have I not provided thousands of years in advance? As I have shown system in the corporeal worlds, know thou, O man, that system prevaileth in the firmament. 10. To the tree I gave life, to man I gave life and spirit also. And the spirit I made was separate from the corporeal life. 11. Out of Samu I made man, and man was but as a tree, but dwelling in Hawk, and I called him Asu Adam. 12. I looked over the wide heavens that I had made, and I saw countless millions of spirits of the dead, that had lived and died on other corporeal worlds before the earth was made. 13. I spake in the firmament, and my voice reached to the uttermost places. And there came in answer to the sounds of my voice, myriads of angels from the roadway in heaven, where the earth travelleth. I said to them, Behold, a new world have I created, come ye and enjoy it. Yea, ye shall learn from it how it was with other worlds in ages past. 14. There alighted upon the new earth millions of angels from heaven, but many of them had never fulfilled a corporeal life, having died in infancy, and these angels comprehended not procreation nor corporeal life. 15. And I said, Go and deliver Asu from darkness, for he shall also rise in spirit to inherit my Etherian worlds. 10 Book of JEHOVIH. 6:16. And now was the earth in the latter days of Samu, and the angels could readily take on corporeal bodies for themselves, out of the elements of the earth clothed they themselves, by force of their wills, with flesh and bones. By the side of the Azuans took they on corporeal forms. 17. And I said, Go ye forth and partake of all that is on the earth, but partake ye not of the tree of life, lest in that labor ye become procreators and as if dead to the heavens whence ye came. 18. But those who had never learned corporeal things, being imperfect in wisdom, comprehended not JEHOVIH's words, and they dwelt with the Azuans, and were tempted, and partook of the fruit of the tree of life, and lo and behold they saw their own nakedness. And there was born of the first race Asu, a new race called man, and JEHOVIH took the earth out of the travail of Samu, and the angels gave up their corporeal bodies. 19. JEHOVIH said, Because ye have raised up those that shall be joint heirs in heaven, ye shall tread the earth with your feet, and walk by the sides of the newborn, being guardian angels over them, for they are of your own flesh and kin. 20. Fruit of your seed have I quickened with my spirit, and man shall come forth with a birthright to my Etherian worlds. 21. As I have quickened the seed of the firstborn, so will I quicken all seed to the end of the earth. And each and every man-child and woman-child born into life will I quicken with a new spirit, which shall proceed out of me at the time of conception. Neither will I give to any spirit of the higher or lower heaven power to enter a womb, or a fetus of a womb, and be born again. 22. As the corporeal earth passeth away, so shall pass away the first race Asu, but as I pass not away, so shall not pass away the spirit of man. Chapter 7. Jehovah said, Let a sign be given. JEHOVIH said, Let a sign be given to the comprehend Danha in the firmament of heaven. For even as I bequeathed to the earth a time for creating the living, and a time for angels to come and partake of the first fruits of mortality and immortality, so shall man at certain times and seasons receive testimony from my hosts in heaven. 2. And JEHOVIH caused the earth, and the family of the sun to travel in an orbit, the circuit of which requireth of them 4,700,000 years. And he placed in the line of the orbit, at distances of 3,000 years, Etherian lights, the which places, as the earth passeth through, angels from the second heaven come into its corporeal presence. As ambassadors they come, in companies of hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands, and these are called the Etherian hosts of the Most High. 3. Not as single individuals come they, for a single individual mortal come they. Not 4. And JEHOVIH gave this sign to man on earth, which is to say, in the beginning of the light of Danha, the spirits of the newly dead shall have power to take upon themselves the semblance of corporeal bodies, and appear and talk face to face with mortals. Every 3,000 years gave JEHOVIH this sign on earth, that those who learned the powers and capacities of such familiar spirits, might bear testimony in regard to the origin of man on earth. JEHOVIH said, And when it shall come to pass in any of the times of Danha that these signs are manifest, man shall know that the hosts of the Most High come soon after. Let him who will become wise, enumerate the great lights of my serpent, for in such times I set aside things that are old, and establish my chosen anew. 5. In the time of the earth, when man was brought forth from mortal to immortal life, the earth passed beyond Samu and the angels of heaven remained with corporeal man, but not in the semblance of mortals, but as spirits, and by virtue of their presence, strove to make man wise and upright before JEHOVIH. Upon the earth the number of such angels was millions. To these angels spake JEHOVIH, saying, 6. Behold the work ye have taken in hand. It was commanded to you all, to partake of all the fruits of the earth save of the fruit of the tree of life, which is of the knowledge of the earth and heaven, lest ye lose your inheritance in Etheria. 7. Behold, ye now have sons and daughters on the earth, by your love to them are ye become bound spirits of the lower heaven. Until ye redeem them in wisdom and power even to the 6th generation ye shall not again arise and inherit my emancipated heavens. 8. To which end ye shall be co-workers with 7 Oahspe. One another in system and order. In my name shall ye become an organic body and known as the heaven of the earth, or lower heaven, which shall travel with the earth. 9. And I will allot unto you a chief, who is wise in experience in founding heavenly kingdoms, and he shall appoint, from amongst you, officers, and messengers, and ashers, and asaphs, and esonors, and ye shall be numbered and apportioned unto your labor in places like unto my other lower heavens on other worlds. 10. And he who is chief shall be called God of this heaven and the earth, unto his making bestow I them. 11. And God shall have a council and throne within his heavenly city, and the place shall be called Horde, because it is the first kingdom of God in this firmament. 12. And God shall rule on his throne, for it is his, and his council shall rule with him. In my name shall they have dominion over angels and mortals belonging to the earth. 13. And God shall appoint chiefs under him who shall go down and dwell on the earth with mortals, and such chiefs, labor shall be with mortals for their resurrection. And these chiefs shall be called lords, for they are gods of land, which is the lowest rank of my commissioned gods. 14. And God and his lords shall have dominion from 200 years to 1,000 or more years, but never more than 3,000 years. According to the regions of Dan, light, into which I bring the earth, so shall be the terms of the office of my gods and my lords. 15. And God and his lords shall raise up officers to be their successors, by him and them shall they be appointed and crowned in my name. 16. At the termination of the dominion of my God and his lords they shall gather together in these my bound heavens, all such angels as have been prepared in wisdom and strength for resurrection to my Etherian kingdoms. And these angels shall be called brides and bridegrooms to JEHOVIH, for they are mine and in my service. 17. And to God and his lords, with the brides and bridegrooms, will I send down from Etheria ships in the time of Dan. By my Etherian gods and goddesses shall the ships descend to these heavens, and receive God and his lords with the brides and bridegrooms, and carry them up to the exalted regions I have prepared for them. 18. And all such as ascend shall be called a harvest unto me through my God and lords. And the time of my harvests shall be according to each Dan, which is 200 years, 400 years, 600 years, and 500 years, and these shall be called my lesser cycles, because they are the times of the tables of prophecy which I give unto my servants. 19. But at no other times, nor in any other way, shall my harvests ascend to my emancipated worlds in Etheria. 7 Dans have I created for each and every Danha, and 6 generations of mortals have I given unto each Dan. 20. The angels understood the commandments of JEHOVIH according to their knowledge in the Etherian heavens, being heirs of other planets, and having died in infancy, and having matured in the worlds, but they understood not the Creator according to the practice of the lower heavenly kingdoms. Wherefore their knowledge was incomplete. 21. JEHOVIH said, I condemn ye not because ye have become joint procreators with the Azuans, for ye have done 2 services unto me, which are to teach yourselves corporeal things, that ye may understand and sympathize with corporeans, and, secondly, because ye have caused the earth to become peopled with such as are capable of immortality. 22. Behold ye now what shall happen on the earth, such as are of your flesh and kin who cohabit together shall rise in wisdom and virtue, but such of them as cohabit with the Azuans will bring forth heirs in the descending grade of life. The first shall bring forth heirs unto everlasting life, but the second shall bring forth heirs that shall go out in darkness. 23. In the dominion of which matters your God and lords will instruct you, that ye may, by inspiration and otherwise, learn to control the behavior of mortals unto everlasting life. And that these labors be not too severe upon you, I created the Dans and Danhas in the firmament, wherein ye may be relieved from the watch by other angels from other worlds coming to exchange with you. 24. This also do I put upon you, that to rule over mortals to virtue, by your own wills governing them in all things, is contrary to my commandments. For what honor hath any man if made to do a thing? 25. But ye shall give mortals of my light, leaving them to choose. Better it is for them to suffer some than to grow up in ignorance of the stings of disobedience. 12 Book of JEHOVIH. 8:26. Behold, I make this a willing service on your part because ye have bound your affections on the earth, to your own kin, ye willingly become guardian angels over mortals. Yet I made not a separate law unto you, as it is with you, so shall it be with the spirits of these mortals when they are born into the world. They will also desire to become guardian angels over their mortal kin. And emperors. As my gods and my lords are called my sons, so shall kings and emperors be called sons of God. Through him shall they be raised up to their places, and given dominion unto my glory. Chapter 8. 21. But these spirits, never having known JEHOVIH said, and God shall cause Amy higher heavens, will be unsuitable for the office of ushers, they would be but the blind leading the blind. 28. To prevent which, God and the Lords shall provide these spirits in the first resurrection with places to dwell in, and with occupations and opportunities for education. For I desire them not to remain bound to the earth, but to rise up and inherit my Etherian kingdoms. 29. And in this also shall ye be discreet in governing them, giving them the light of my heavens with some liberty to choose and to perfect themselves. Otherwise they would only be slaves in heaven. According to their weakness or strength, so shall ye provide for these new spirits entering my world. 30. Therefore such of you as are appointed by my God and my lords as guardians over mortals shall be called ASHARS, and ye shall report to your respective lords, according to the section of the earth where ye may be. Of many watches shall be the ushers. 31. And such of you as are appointed to receive the spirits of the dead into heaven shall be called ASAPHS, and ye shall report to your respective lords and their kingdoms. 32. And the ushers shall make a record of every mortal, of the grade of his wisdom and good works, and when a mortal dieth, and his spirit is delivered to the Asaphs, the record shall be delivered with him, and the Asaph, receiving, shall deliver such spirit, with the record into such place in these heavens as is adapted to his grade, where he shall be put to labor and to school, according to the place of the resurrections which I created. 33. As ye shall thus become organic in heaven, with rulers, and teachers, and physicians, and with capitals, and cities, and provinces, and with hospitals, and nurseries, and schools, and factories, even so shall ye ultimately inspire man on the earth to the same things. 34. And mortals that are raised up to dominion over mortals shall be called kings' record to be kept in heaven, of his dominions and his lords. And he and they shall enjoin it upon their successors forever to keep a like record. 2. And in the times of my harvest a copy of these records shall be taken up to my Etherian kingdoms and filed with my Orient chiefs and archangels in the roadway of the travel of the great serpent, for their deliberations as to the progress and management of the inhabitants of the earth and her heavens. 3. Think not, O ye angels, that the resurrection of your heirs, and their descendants that come up out of the earth, is an easy matter and of steady progress, devoid of mishaps and woeful darkness. 4. The angels under you shall become at times rebellious and defiant, disregarding your laws and decrees, and they shall desert your heavenly places and go down to the earth in millions and hundreds of millions. And they shall drive away the ushers, and then assume guardianship over mortals. But they shall develop no righteousness under the sun, but they will inspire mortals to war and destruction. And these angels will themselves take to war and evil on every hand within the place of your heavens. 5. With the foul gases of atmosphere shall they make weapons of war in places of torment. With these elements shall they make suffocating hells in order to cast one another in chaos. 6. And mortals who shall be slain in war, shall be born in spirit in chaos on the battlefields. In chaos shall such spirits enter the world. And they shall not know that they are dead, as to earth life, but shall still keep fighting right and left. 7. And enemy shall take enemy, in these heavens, and cast them in the places of torment which they shall have built, and they shall not know peace nor wisdom. 8. And the work of your heavens shall become as nothing. And ye shall turn to, going about delivering hells and the spirits 1:3-9 Oahspe. In chaos. And your labor shall be exhaustive, verily shall you cry out because ye came and peopled the earth. 9. This also have I created possible unto my creations, for both angels and mortals shall learn to know the elements of the JEHOVIHs and the earth, and to know the trials of love and misfortune. 10. Nor have I made wisdom possible unto any man or angel that knoweth not my elements, and the extremes of evil and good which I created. 11. But in the times of great darkness which shall come upon earth and these heavens, lo, I will bring the earth into Danha, and my Etherenes shall come in my name and deliver them. 12. And again for another cycle shall they be left with the lessons given unto them, but they shall fall again in course of time. But again will I deliver them, through my gods and goddesses will I cause them to comprehend the magnitude of my creation. 13. As ye travel from heaven to heaven in atmospherine ships, even so shall ye inspire mortals to build corporeal ships, and sail across the oceans, that the inhabitants of different divisions of the earth may become known to one another. 14. And when the inhabitation of the earth shall be completed, and the nations shall have established civil communion around from east to west, in that same time will I bring the earth into the cosmic era, and my angel ambassadors, gods and goddesses, shall render up the records of these heavenly kingdoms. 15. Through them will I reveal unto mortals the creation of my worlds, and the history and dominion of my gods and lords on the earth, even from this day down to the time of Cosmon. 16. And JEHOVIH caused the angels of Atmosphere to assemble together and organize the first kingdom of the heaven of the earth. And the place was called Horde, because it was the place of the first organic abiding place for the first god of this world. 17. And Horde was situated over and above the mountains of Aoden in Ugoki, to the eastward of Ul, of that country hereinafter called the continent of Pan. 18. Thus endeth the inorganic habitation of the earth in her atmosphere. End of Book of JEHOVIH. 1. The words Great Serpent mean Solar's phalanx. See illustrations in Book of Ben, and Sappha. 14. Book of Sethantes, son of JEHOVIH. First god of the first cycle of the earth after man's creation. Chapter I. N. Inhabitation of the Esonors to chant in praise of the Father and his works. 9. Meanwhile I had the Horde in the beginning of the Inventar embled in numbered, and there were ranks of 20 Horde, a heavenly plateau resting on the earth. 2. And the archangel Sethans was the wisest of them all, and he said unto them, 3. Behold, we have come from far off Heavens, by the voice of JEHOVIH came we to partake of the glory of the red star, the earth. JEHOVIH said unto us, Come ye and enjoy the new world I have created. Partake ye of all the fruits thereof, save of the tree of Knoll Edge, which is the fountain of life. Partake ye not of this, lest ye die. 4. But the voice of the earth spake unto us, saying, Partake ye, for indeed mine is the tree of everlasting life. 5. And many obeyed not the voice of the Father, and are now bound by the tie of life, which is in the blood. 6. And the voice of JEHOVIH came to me, saying, Sethans, my son, behold, I gave into thy charge in my Etherean heavens millions of angels, and thou hast brought them to the earth, and they are fallen from their high estate. Go thou, deliver them. 7. And I said, What shall I do? And JEHOVIH said, Bring thy angel hosts to Horde, for there will I crown thee God of these heavens and earth for the redemption of angels and mortals. And it shall be a new heavenly kingdom from this time forth to the end of the world. For it is the time of the Ark of Wan, and I will bring from Etheria my high-raised goddess, Edisai, chief factor of Harmuts, and she shall crown thee in my name, God of heaven and earth. 8. God said, When I had thus spoken in Horde before the angels of heaven, a great light, like a sun, was seen descending from the firmament above. And I commanded my 7,600,000, and these were the same who were on an excursion in my charge when the voice of JEHOVIH commanded us to visit the earth. 10. The light above us descended fast toward us, like a ship of fire it came nearer and nearer, till we saw that it was wider far, than the place of Horde and all my angel hosts. 11. And it came to pass that when the great light had descended to the plateau of Horde there came forth out of the light 1,000,000 archangels, from the Ark of Wan in the hosts of Agi, in the orbit of Fauzang in Etheria, and they bore regalia and crowns from the Orient chief of Harmutes. Foremost of the archangels was Edisai, and her brother Yahdiahaga, commissioners from the Etherian heaven. 12. When they came near me, Edisai gave the sign of JEHOVIH's name, greeting, halting and saying, All hail. In JEHOVIH's name, and in the love of Harmutes, Orient chief, we come to greet thee, first god of the lower heaven, belonging to the corporeal earth. 13. I said, All hail, O emissaries of Har-Mutz, chief of Orion worlds. Come, O Oahspe, and thy brother and all this host. Come, honor my throne, in great JEHOVIH's name. 14. The archangels then came forward, saluting, and Oahspe said, In thy name, O JEHOVIH, I found here a throne. 15. And she caused to rise the form and substance thereof, and she ascended thereon, and Yahweh with her. And the other archangels formed a crescent in front of the throne, all of them bearing crowns or diadems, but they stood upright. And now the angels of the host of God took their places, that they might witness the testimony of JEHOVIH's 1:5-2 Oahspe. Commission, but the lights from the columns of fire, brilliant in all colors and shades and tints, baffled many of them from seeing plainly. 16. When all things were in readiness, Oahspe, standing erect and brilliant like a star, raised her right hand, saying, JEHOVIH. All wise and powerful, in thy name, this thy Son, God, I crown. From the Orion chief, Har-Mutz, raised to the rank of God, and by thee, O JEHOVIH, ordained. Henceforth to be known forever in the emancipated heavens as thy Son. Peace, wisdom, love, power. 17. And now with her left hand she raised high the crown, so that all might see and bear witness, and giving the sign again of JEHOVIH's name above the crown, wherefrom a flame of light shot forth brilliantly. Thereupon she placed the crown on God's head, saying, 18. Arise, O my son, thou son of JEHOVIH. Instantly there rose from the millions of souls one universal shout, All hail, O son of JEHOVIH. And God rose up, having the crown on his head, and the people cheered him lustily, for he was well beloved. 19. Oahspe said, Bring forth thy 5 chief lords, that I may crown them also. God then caused the 5 chief lords whom he had selected to sit at the foot of the throne. 20. Again Oahspe raised her right hand, saying, O JEHOVIH. Almighty, from whom all glories emanate, in thy name, these thy sons, I crown, lords of the earth, and of the waters of the earth. From the Orion chief Har-Mutz. By my commission do I raise them to the rank of lords for kingdoms of heaven. Peace, wisdom, love, power. 21. Then Oahspe took the crowns, which were handed her by the other archangels, and placed them on the heads of the lords, saying, 22. Arise, O my lords, and be ye lords of JEHOVIH for his glory. And be ye the lords of God, having dominion over the earth and the waters of the earth, in love, wisdom, and power. Amen. 23. The lords rose up, having on their heads the crown of lords, and again the multitude saluted with great cheering. When the applause ceased, Oahspe said, 24. My God and my lords, give now the sign of JEHOVIH's name, that his glory may be fulfilled. For this was the oath of office. 25. And God and the lords saluted JEHOVIH before the hosts of heaven. And they stood apart a little distance, and Oahspe said, 26. Behold the all-light, JEHOVIH, encompasseth me. My voice shall be his voice. By the glory of faith in him am I one with the Father. 27. And a fleece of golden hue descended from above and encompassed Oahspe round about, and she was like a central star with rays of light emanating. She was entranced by JEHOVIH. Through her the Creator spake, saying, 28. My son, even God, I brought thee forth out of corpore, quickened into life everlasting. By faith I inspired thee to do whatsoever thou hast done. Faith gave I unto thee, as the tree whereon all perfection is the fruit. By that faith within man that nurtureth the I am within himself unto perfection, becometh he my son, doing by virtue of my presence. According to thy wisdom and love have I given thee strength, and by thy strength raised thee up. 29. Behold, this day have I given thee a kingdom in atmosphere, and made thee God before all the kingdoms of heaven. This place shall be thy place and mine also. Here shalt thou dispense wisdom and laws, and appoint officers in my name and by virtue of my power. 30. And thy kingdom shall be like 2 kingdoms, one here with the hosts of heaven, and one on the earth, even over these thy lords. For thou art the judgment seat and creator of order over the whole earth, and in the heaven belonging to the earth. 31. Stretch forth thy hand, my son, and clothe thyself in the golden fleece. 32. God made the sign, and then raised his hands upward, saying, JEHOVIH. JEHOVIH. By thy command I call upon thee to array me in thy golden fleece. Behold, I am thy son. 33. And the archangels tossed up the raiment and regalia they had brought from their Etherian ark in Oahspe, and, by the faith that was in God, the substance flew to him and encompassed him around in raiment of the upper heaven. 34. Then JEHOVIH spake to the lords, saying, As God hath built a kingdom in Hord, and reigneth over this heaven, and over ye and your helpmates, so shall ye build kingdoms on the earth, and ye shall rule over mortals in my name, teaching them of me in my everlast 16 book of Sethantes, son of Jehovih. 3 In kingdoms in the firmament above. In testimony of my voice receive ye this raiment of silver and gold from my archangels. 35. The archangels then draped the lords in shining raiment. And Oahspe came down from the throne, still entranced, saying, 36. Though my daughter Oahspe will rise up in the flame of fire, yet will I, even JEHOVIH, abide with thee, O God, and with ye, my lords, now and forever. And then Oahspe took God's hand and led him to the center of the throne, saying, Sit thou on this throne, for it is thy Father's kingdom in the lower heaven of the earth. 37. When God sat down, the entrancement departed from Oahspe, and the light of JEHOVIH went and settled upon God and the lords. But Oahspe sat down at the foot of the throne, and thereupon all the archangels sat down also. 38. God said, Behold, she that is greatest maketh herself least of all. Arise, O daughter of JEHOVIH, and enjoy my kingdom, for it is JEHOVIH's also. And God came down from the judgment seat and took Oahspe's hand, and she rose up, whereupon God proclaimed the freedom of the hour. Thus was established the first throne of God in these heavens. And now all of the hosts mingled together, angels and archangels, joyfully. Chapter 2. When the hour was ended, God again wended the throne, and the marshals raised the signals of order, and the archangels went and stood in a crescent in front of the throne. Oahspe sat at the feet of God, and the splendor of her glory, unadorned, save with white and yellow drapery, shone through all the talents JEHOVIH had given her, the perfection of purity, wisdom, and love, the like of which only gods had looked on. 2. God said, In thy name, O JEHOVIH, do I now found the session of thy kingdom in the lower heaven. As long as man and woman shall bring forth heirs unto thee, this kingdom shall not cease to glorify thee. Let the lords approach the throne. 3. The Esonors now sang, and in the meantime the marshals and escorts conducted the lords before the throne. When they were in order, the music ceased, and God said, 4. 5 great divisions of the earth there are, and I have ordained ye the 5 lords thereof in JEHOVIH's name. According to the number of inhabitants on the earth's divisions, and your relative rank before heaven have I placed you. When ye have seated yourselves in your respective kingdoms, ye shall have each 12 messengers, whose duties shall be betwixt ye and me. Choose ye, therefore, your messengers, even this hour, that ere the resurrection of the archangels they may be confirmed in their registry borne to heaven above. 5. The lords chose their messengers, and they were confirmed in the name of JEHOVIH, and the swift messengers, who ply with the upper heavens, made a record of their names and places. Thereupon God said to them, 6. According to your talents have you been chosen, according to your excellence will ye be promoted to wider fields of labor. May the wisdom, love and power of JEHOVIH be with you all, Amen. 7. And now Oahspe signified that her time of departure had arrived. 8. God came down from the judgment seat, and standing one moment in sorrow, reached forth and took Oahspe's hand, saying, 9. Arise, O daughter of JEHOVIH, and go thy way. 10. Oahspe rose up, pointing upward, said, My house is in the ark of Wan. JEHOVIH dwelleth with thee and me. My swift singers shall come to thee at times. My love will abide with thee and thy lords, and the harvest of thy resurrection. In JEHOVIH's name, farewell. 11. Oahspe then walked to the ship of fire, but ere she entered, she turned and took one more look at the hosts of Hord, and, then stripping from the frames, luminous drapery, cast it playfully over the Esonors, and quickly disappeared in the light. 12. The Esonors chanted, and the hosts of archangels joined in with them, and in that same moment of time the ship began to rise, and it was as thousands of columns of fire surrounding one majestic column, and the whole circle rising in spiral form, turning and rising, rising and turning. And when it was a little way up, it seemed like an ascending sun, and then higher and higher, like a far-off star, and then it passed beyond the vision of the angels of Horde. 13. When order was proclaimed, the all-light began to gather around about the throne, covering over God and the lords. JEHOVIH, through God, said, 14. Hear ye, for I abide also with these my lords of the hosts of heaven. 1:7 for Oahspe. 15. The Lord said, What shall we do? And JEHOVIH answered, Summon all the angels to pass before the throne of God, one by one, that I may judge them. For as many as dwelt on any of my corporeal worlds of the fifth of the second rate shall abide in the kingdom of Horde, and their labor shall be with Essenes only, but all of the full of the first rate shall abide in the kingdoms of my lords, and their labor shall be with corporeans. 16. The marshals then arranged the angels, and they passed in front of the throne, and so great was God's wisdom that, in looking on the angels as they passed, he perceived the rates of every man and woman. And those destined for labor in atmosphere only, he caused to turn one way, and those for the earth, as ministering spirits with mortals, to turn the other way, and when they had all passed, they were correctly divided according to JEHOVIH's commandment. 17. God said, Hear me, O ye lords. Take your laborers and repair to your respective places on the divisions of the earth, and the waters of the earth. And ye shall be lords with me, your God, for the glory of JEHOVIH. Whatsoever ye do on the earth will I ratify in heaven, whomsoever ye deliver from the earth will I receive in heaven. As ye shape and build up mortal man, delivering his spirit into my kingdom, so will I receive him and award him. 18. That your kingdoms may accord with me and mine, I give you messengers sufficient, and they shall pass daily betwixt us, according to their proficiency and power to pass from place to place, so have I chosen them. 19. Let a record be kept within your own kingdoms, and these records shall be your own, to be carried upward with you in the next resurrection. 20. And yet, ye shall have a record jointly with me, separate from your own record, pertaining to your kingdom's relations with mine. 21. When mortals die and are born in spirit, ye shall receive them and enter them in your records as Essenes, signifying new-born in heaven. And for these Essenes ye shall provide temporary abodes, where they shall tarry, some for a few days, and some for the space of 1 year or more. Of their numbers and conditions ye shall inform me, through the messengers, and I will send ships to bring them to my kingdom. 22. Ye shall appoint Asaphs, whose office it shall be to receive Essenes from the Ashers. But 23. Whilst a mortal is alive on the earth, the Ashers shall abide with him, guarding him in the name of the Lord, and in my name. When he dieth the Asher shall deliver the Ession to the Asaph, saying, In JEHOVIH's name receive thou this newborn spirit. He was my protege, for the good or evil in him, charge thou to me. And the Asher shall deliver up a record of the mortal life of the Yan, and the record shall be kept within your own kingdoms. 24. And the Asaph shall take the Ession, saying, In JEHOVIH's name, receive I this newborn spirit. He shall be my protege according to the commandments of the Lord my God. He shall then take the Ession to the place to receive it, where it will have nurses and attendants according to its requirements. 25. When ships come to your kingdoms, the Asaphs shall deliver all the Essions they have received, and my officer shall receive them, and bring them to my place in heaven. 26. When God had ended the instructions to the lords answered, saying, We will be thy lords, O God, doing thy commandments, for the glory of JEHOVIH, our Father. 27. God said, To each of you have I given a great division of the earth, and each division shall be named after you, each in its place. 28. This, then, was the rank assigned: Waga, Pan, Jud, Asia, Thori, America, Vovu, Africa, and Dis, Europe. And the lands were called after the names of the lords and so entered in the books of heaven in Horde, by command of God in the name of JEHOVIH. 29. And the record of the great serpent showed the firmament of Temi in the third circuit of Kevorkim and Danha 24.230. When all was finished, the lords came and sat down at the foot of the throne, and the Esonors chanted a hymn of praise to JEHOVIH, and the entire multitude joined therein. 31. When the hymn was ended, God rose up, standing amidst a sea of light, and raising up both hands, said, O JEHOVIH. Almighty and everlasting. Help thy servants in founding this thy kingdom for thy glory. Peace, wisdom and power. 32. Then making the sign of JEHOVIH's name with his right hand, he came down to the foot of the throne, and taking the hand of Oahspe, Lord of Oahspe, he said, Arise, my son, and go thy way, and JEHOVIH will bless thee. 33. Oahspe rose up and stood aside, and then in like manner God raised the other 4 lords, and they stood aside also. 18 Book of Sethantes, son of JEHOVIH. 534. The marshals filed past the throne, saluting, and after them the lords, saluting also, and after them came the Asaphs, and lastly the Ashers, and the procession was under way, passing off between the pillars of fire with which God's laborers had ornamented horde around about. 35. This was the beginning of the first kingdom in the lower heaven, and the first of the reign of the lords on earth. Chapter 3. ND God appointed in heaven angel surveyors, to survey the earth and atmosphere, and astronomers, to note the place of the stars, and enumerators, to number the inhabitants of the earth and atmosphere, to grade them and apportion their places, and nurses and physicians, to receive the Essenes and administer unto them, and builders of heavenly mansions, and weavers of fabrics for covering the newborn, the Essenes, and builders of heavenly ships for carrying the inhabitants from place to place. And God appointed unto all of these, officers and teachers, according to grade appointed he them. 2. And when God had completed his appointments, the people were apportioned in heaven every one to his place, to begin the work allotted to them. And God called the Asaphs, and he said unto them, 3. Go ye down to the earth, and bring to me the first fruit of the first resurrection. 4. And the Asaphs said, Thy will is our will, but what meanest thou by the first fruit of the first resurrection? 5. God said, The spirits of the dead. The Asaphs said, The spirits of the dead. Who are they? 6. God said, When a corporean cometh forth out of his corporeal body, this shall be called death. 7. The Asaphs said, Who then are the spirits of death? And God answered them, saying, O ye that died in infancy, how can ye learn corporeal things? Go ye then to my Lord, Oahspe, and he will show you. 8. The Asaphs departed and went down to the earth, and the Lord, through the Ashers, delivered unto the Asaphs 500 Essenes, and they brought them to Hord, before the throne of God. And God said unto them, Who are these? 9. The Asaphs said, These are the first fruit of the first resurrection. Behold, we know now the beginning and the end of corporeal ity. The earth body of these Essenes was but a womb from which they are now delivered. 10. God said, Well done. Take ye these Essenes and feed and clothe them, for this is your labor. 11. The Asaphs answered, Alas, we have tried them with all manner of food on which we ourselves subsist, but they will not eat. 12. God said, Alas, O ye innocents! Ye feed on ethereal food. These Essenes must have atmospherian food, even as corporeans subsist on corporeal food. Go, then, fulfill this first resurrection, for as much as ye deliver them, so will ye be delivered in time to come. 13. The Asaphs then departed, taking the Essenes with them. But in course of time they returned again to God, saying, 14. Behold, O God, we have gathered of the atmosphere of trees of all kinds, and of seeds, and plants that grow on the earth, all most beautiful to our senses, and savory to the smell, and we gave these to the Essenes, but lo, they will not eat. Being alarmed, we again hasten to thee for information. 15. God said, O ye of little wisdom, knowing so much of heaven and so little of earth. Go ye back to the place whence ye brought these Essenes, and learn what manner of food they subsisted on. 16. The Asaphs went back with all haste to learn in reference to the food. And in due time they came again before God, saluting, saying, 17. What shall we do, O God? Behold these Essenes whilst in the corporeal form feasted on fish and worms. How can we bring them the atmospherian part of these things? 18. God said, Even the last time ye were present ye said ye had gathered of the atmospherian part of trees, and seeds and plants growing out of the earth. Why, then, cannot ye gather of the atmospherian part of fish and worms? 19. The Asaphs said, Alas, this difference have we observed. The trees, and plants and fruits emit delightful atmospheres, most nutritious to the spirit, but that which is emitted from the living fish and living worm is foul-smelling, being but the sweat and dead substance evaporating.